My name is Alissa Crawford, and I am an assistant professor at the University of Central Oklahoma. So one of the things I discovered when I was going through my doctoral program at OU was this little tiny theory called transformative experience. And it's technically a pedagogy that instructors can apply into their classroom that really helps students take the content that they're learning in the classroom and make relevant connections to their everyday life. At UCO, we've done a lot with transformation and transformative learning. And one of the criticisms in my research at the time was there wasn't a lot of pedagogy that had been researched to really help students. There were a lot of ideas, there were a lot of suggestions, there were a lot of, well, this has worked in my room, could it work in yours? But in terms of an actual pedagogy, that was still ambiguous. So to find something that I wondered, would it really connect to students, became something I was very interested in. One of the things that we strive for in education is making relative and meaningful experiences that become tangible for students when they leave our campus. Once students were graduating, they would write me emails back that said, "You told me this would happen, and here's what I'm seeing." And they were reusing vocabulary and content and theory that we had taught in class in ways that I'd never had students ever come back and talk to me about before. So when I started learning about the embodied brain that UCO does and mind-brain education, I realized what was happening. And what we were doing is connecting the plasticity of the brain making connections of this new content and this new vocabulary and these new ideals that they need to know to be effective teachers into personal pieces of their own knowledge. Because the way it works is I have them do a journal assignment where they have to observe this theory in their everyday life. And they typically have about a week to see this happen. They all got nervous the first time I assigned it, saying, "I'll never see this theory in my everyday life. This is just theory." And what has happened, they keep coming back saying, "Now I see it everywhere. Now I see why this is a theory. It's not just something some ancient person put together. I see it too, and now I understand why this person needed to tell about it." They began to tell me, "This has really changed the way I study. This has changed the way I look at information. I'm no longer cramming. I am actually truly expanding my own knowledge networks because I'm making it personal." And they said it was helpful to them, and several even said, "I've started taking this process and using it in other classes where it's not required for me to do this so that I can understand their concepts better as well." This has changed my students' mindsets towards their own ability to learn. It's beautiful. When I introduce concepts through the way that they have impacted how I've seen them or how I'm still experiencing them in the present tense, not just something from my history or from my past, it makes it relevant that it's not just for students. It's also for anyone who's looking for this particular piece of information. And when I'm sharing my current understandings and experiences with these theories, it allows the students to see that with intention, I never quit learning either. It's not the same old lecture every time. It's this happened today, or this happened on the way here this morning, and I want to share it with you because it fits in with what we're talking about. And I think teachers do that naturally to some degree, but what my research found was when we do it with the intention of bringing in those everyday connections outside of the classroom, our students do significantly better in understanding and retaining those concepts once they have left our classrooms. This pedagogy has changed how I teach, because I used to think the responsibility was mine to bring all of the examples to the students so that they would know, here's an example, let's evaluate this, or here's another one, let's evaluate this. But what it has done is put the responsibility totally on the students. So I went from stressing over having enough examples of a particular concept or theory to share with students to now I have as many as complete the journal. And it's fostered an enthusiasm for the students to write where they're seeing this once they see what other students are offering as well.